Hey kid, do you like money? Do you want to learn the infinite money glitch? Well, you've come to the right place. Buy my course and I promise you will start living life on easy mode. We've seen this ad peddled to us an immeasurable amount of times, and yet people still fall for this predatory scheme. The scheme is to get rich off of selling free information from Reddit and slapping a price tag on it. It was the most copy-pasted idea any of us have seen. Today we're looking at one of my favorite finance gurus. His name is Robert Kiyosaki. You may have heard of him. He is really the OG finance influencer. He's the guy that will tell you how it is. If you're poor, he'll curb stomp you. If you're middle class, he'll curb stomp you and call you poor. I can respect a man that has quite literally brutal honesty. So, just a warning to all the folks that don't clear 10 figures minimum. He's coming for your ass. You've got a wife and kids, and make just enough to provide for them every month? Nope, not today. He's gonna steal you and replace you with the rich dad. No poor dads allowed in this man eats man world. In his mind, rich equals strong alpha male. You're a winner. Poor equals beta male loser. Fucking poor loser. Thumbs down. Take the L. Just buy a house if you're homeless type shit. So let's take a closer look at the legend himself to see how he became a rich man, and what he has been bringing to the table that's unique from the other degenerate gurus. You might be wondering, okay, what does Robert Kiyosaki do for a living? Yeah, so I'll be honest, I don't really know what he does. And for any of his close followers watching this, you probably want to tell me, well, you've never read his book. Of course you don't know him. You don't know the real Robert. And, yeah, no, I mean, you're probably right about that. Well, it's a good thing other people read it so that I don't have to. And it turns out, he is handing out both decent and horrible advice at the same time. For example, he loves flaunting the fact that he's taken out hundreds upon millions of dollars in debt. He is best known as the leveraging debt guy. I'll be honest again here, another hot take, but I don't think we would have a functioning economy if everyone started doing what he does, especially when you consider the already insane national debt ceiling in the US. Like, it's quite literally insane to teach thousands of people to aggressively take out tons of debt until you can turn it around into actual money. It's like throwing plastic onto a forest fire in the hopes that the plastic will phase into water.
If you think like a poor person, and we all know poor people, they're all over the place. So I'm gonna just show you something here. This here is a gold Rolex Daytona. Now you go, oh, what a waste of money.
Yeah, Robert, it is a waste of money. Does it look nice? Yeah. Is it shiny? Yes. Can watch do my laundry like a Dr. Seuss contraption? Yeah, that's what I thought. But do please go on.
The younger people have no idea what Daytona means, but this was Paul Newman's watch and all this stuff. And I own 4 Daytonas.
Ah, I get it. It's because it's gold and Paul Newman owned it. As a poor person, I should probably take out some more debt and buy a $50,000 gold watch. I mean, whew, genius. Why didn't I think of that sooner? He's cracked the code, people. Hey everyone, you hear that? Let's take out loans, buy some mansions and some Birkin bags, or as the finance bros like to call, wealth accumulating assets. Apparently, it's been that easy this whole time. I should have known it was just my poor person mindset. I actually understand what he's trying to say here, but my entire point of this video is to clown on the delivery of his advice because it's just so sucky. It brings me back to that TikTok video of that girl that says, if you're homeless, just buy a house. Like, this is quite literally what Robert is peddling to his fans here. So I'm gonna clean up his introduction here a bit so that it's far less misleading. If you genuinely want to build wealth, it should be done long-term, baby steps. Start off with small investments, but do not go taking out a loan that you cannot afford, in the hopes that what you finance will eventually rise in value to build equity. It is absurd and downright stupid. I honestly feel bad for the people that take his advice and demolish their credit score down to the single digits, if that's even a thing, which, considering the shit he spews out, would not surprise me in the slightest. However, again, I will say this. There is some truth in between the lines of what he says about the poor versus the rich. The basics he teaches are things like knowing what is an asset versus a liability, don't buy things you can't actually afford, and keep a solid track of where your money is going day to day. Despite this advice being Jesus. Despite Despite this advice being somewhat obvious and generic, it's good advice. But he knows exactly what he's doing when he takes an extra step further and talks about leveraging copious amounts of debt in hopes of a large return. And the people he's selling this insanity to are people that absolutely cannot afford to take on a small loan of $1 million. People that are experts in creating businesses and leveraging debt to build something bigger don't read his books. They've had many years of experience to back themselves up, and it just feels like his cult-like audience is taking this advice like it can be done no matter who you are, no matter what your background is. But unfortunately, your background and your experience in business is going to be a huge factor. Financial experts don't listen or read into Robert Kiyosaki for a reason. There was this beef some many moons ago where another sales finance guru named Grant Cardone, who I'm sure you're all familiar with, called out Robert Kiyosaki for being a fake guru, fake lifestyle, and a fake rich dad, which I suppose is valid when you consider his most popular book is called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm still debating whether to give this book a chance or not. I think maybe it's worth a chance, but that's only because I'm fascinated by this guy. Fascinated by him for all the wrong reasons. But I'm sure if he sees this video, he will think, this guy must be my #1 fan. Or my #1 hater. I don't know, Robbie. You tell me. I am me, but what are you? Or, oh, damn. I'm having a stroke here. I know what you are, but what am I? That's the saying. So, in this book, he talks about two dads that raised him. One poor, one rich. Can you guess who's the real dad and who's the stepdad? Yep, the real dad is a broke boy, and rich dad is not a dad. It's not even his father, actually. Just a financial mentor. Yeah, this guy talks about how his poor dad was a broke beta male loser who was making ends meet every month raising a family, while also being the head of education for the entire state of Hawaii. I don't care what anyone says about this guy being like some kind of messiah for the economy. He's such an asshole, and I also just cannot stand his voice. The sound of his voice alone makes me feel like I'm worthless.
Don't hang out with poor people. It's a waste of your time. My poor dad, smart guy and all that, poor as a church mouse. He wanted everything that was inexpensive rather than something that was valuable. So ladies and gentlemen, people talk about mindfulness now. Buddhism is mindfulness. What are you saying to yourself? Oh, I can get by doing this, or I can eat cheap food, or I can do this.
I would feel more of a man taking a finance class from Ebenezer Scrooge. I'm not sure why Scrooge popped up in my head, but I just thought of Jim Carrey playing that character from that movie, and just like not really feeling negative about him. Just that he would say, bah humbug, every class, and not really being a threat. You just kind of feel bad for him. Like the substitute teacher that gets bullied by the students. I'd feel more comfortable in that scenario than taking a finance class with Robert Kiyosaki. And oh boy, he has a pretty bad reputation with his seminars, come to think of it. Let's talk a little bit about that. So at these seminars, they were not actually teaching people anything. This is the first phase of how the Rich Dad course scammed and brainwashed many victims, mostly middle-aged people. And you pay like an initial $500 just to attend a meeting where the instructor asks everyone to raise their credit limit to take the actual course, which costs anywhere between $12,000 to $45,000. Now, I've heard of some pretty absurd pyramid scheme courses costing $500, $1,000, maybe even $5,000 a month, but $45,000. And I think that's just flat out, but even then, $45,000. And that's the high tier. If you want the lowest tier training, you fork over 12,000 big ones. You'd probably have better financial luck giving tech support scammers your credit card number than paying a cent to this mountain, to this black hole of a pyramid scheme. I hate even using the word instructor here. These are straight up monsters. They're not even human, they're cult leaders. This entire thing you see exposed by these reporters is literally a cult. You are safer licking the floor of a New York City subway at 3 in the morning than being locked in a room with these evil scumbags. And would you believe me if I told you this is just the tip of the iceberg of Robert Kiyosaki? A YouTuber by the name of Jeremy Orozco made a 40-minute breakdown of everything this demon spawn has done.
When I was in high school, most of my teachers were terrified. They're all cowards, job security. Don't make mistakes. Just memorize the right answer and you'll be safe. And that's why most school teachers aren't rich.
Yeah.
And they teach that to your generation today.
Yeah.
I will say that the school system is not cut out for everyone. That's fine. What's totally not alpha male of Robert here is spinning his biological father as some kind of loser beta who didn't have enough money. It's so cringy, but apparently it sells. Everyone needs a sugar daddy. Robert found his. And maybe you will too. Thanks for watching.